Hello, my name is Taylor Lepke and I'll be your host today. It is currently November 20th, 2024. We're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and today we will be talking about the opioid crisis, policies, and pathways to recovery. Opioids are prescribed so heavily that every citizen in the state of South Dakota could take an opioid 24 hours a day for 11 days straight. Now, that is quite the statistic that speaks volumes about this crisis going on within the state of South Dakota. So, just a little bit of background on the history of the crisis. It did begin in the 1990s when they changed the marketing scheme that was used to promote pain control and the use of opioids. Oxycontin and other pain advocacy campaigns ultimately led to this sharp rise and increase in the number of opioids that were being prescribed. Um, and this also goes to speak volumes about how quickly this came about. But from 1999 to 2010, the sales of opioids quadrupled, which that is a huge statistic right there, once again speaking to this crisis. Other important statistics to note from 1999 to 2020, 565,000 Americans died of an opioid related cause. And then from 2016 to 2022, there were more than 2,400 drug related hospitalizations in South Dakota and 684 drug related deaths in the state of South Dakota. The government did respond to this crisis by enacting laws that assisted in decreasing the overprescribing and misuse of opioids. It allowed for the expansion of treatment access and then enhanced the counter-narcotic cooperation. So you can see some of these acts that are listed below on the PowerPoint slides. They include the Comprehensive Addiction and Recovery Act of 2016, the Support Act, the Fentanyl Sanctions Act, and the Blocking Deadly Fentanyl Imports Act. Congress also wanted to implement some harm reduction strategies. One of the most commonly used ones is the Syringe Services Program, also known as needle exchanges. This is funded by the Congressional American Rescue Plan Act and is used in many locations. Additionally, safe consumption sites can be another harm reduction strategy that's used, but it's not used everywhere as it's a little bit more debated politically for lots of other different reasons that we won't get into today. There are a couple of different options for treatment, being inpatient, outpatient, and then medication-assisted treatment, or MAT. Medication-assisted treatment is something that is very beneficial to those who struggle with opioid use disorder. However, South Dakota only has 3 facilities in the entire state that offer this type of treatment. They are located at Center for Family Medicine in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Lewis and Clark Behavioral Science in Yankton, South Dakota, and then Project Recovery in Rapid City, South Dakota. Now, geographically speaking, if you were to look at a map and put all of these locations on that map, those who are located centrally and northern within the state of South Dakota are going to have pretty limited access to being able to receive this treatment. And if they are able or have access to transportation, their drive and commute to those locations is going to be, 2 to 3 hours maybe, which is a significant amount of time. And these individuals typically do have to go into the facilities often to get tested, to get their prescription renewed, and then just for overall checkup to make sure they're adhering to this medication-assisted treatment. So advocacy is a huge component to addressing the crisis. So there are some organizations within the state of South Dakota that have really honed in on opioid use disorder, one of those being Start South Dakota by SDSU. It stands for Stigma, Treatment, Avoidance, and Recovery in Time. It is HRSA grant funded, and it focuses mostly on targeting rural areas like Yankton, Lyman, Roberts, and Hughes counties. And then there is another organization called Emily's Hope, which is a legacy charity that is in remembrance of a Sioux Falls teenager that overdosed on opioids. And their main goals cited on their website is to raise awareness for the opioid endemic. They do offer scholarships for individuals who are not able to afford treatment. Usually it's inpatient treatment. And then they can offer referrals to aid those who have recently had an overdose and just kind of give them resources and maybe a care coordinator to be able to assist with their addiction. Lastly, I am going to go ahead and call all of you who are listening today to get involved, whether that be through educating yourself more on the crisis itself, advocating for people who have opioid use disorder, or donating to some of these, to the previous slide, those organizations. But most importantly, if you or somebody you know is suffering from opioid use disorder, please seek assistance and encourage them to seek assistance. They can dial 988 on their telephone and be in touch with the Suicide and Crisis Hotline. Otherwise, visit www.letsbeclearsouthDakota.com/treatment/care coordination to see options that are available. Thank you for tuning in and taking a listen today. I hope you have a great rest of your week.